Hi, here I would like to demo like the simple development steps, how we check out the code and how we build the code, and how the both Java and UI code gets built. So to start with, we can either do it through Eclipse SVN plugin or with Tortoise SVN, which is on the right click of it, it shows this help context help. So Tortoise SVN is something that you can download it from this website. Okay, and you can download it for 64-bit OS. You can download this, and please note that this is I think this is only for the Windows version. Okay, so then once you have it, the Tortoise SVN, you will find this option here. You can actually click right click SVN, and this path is already shared with you uh, in the email. So what you can do is just give this SVN path, click OK, and it will ask you username and password. So the username and password is something that I shared with you in the email. Your short name I just used for mine Harinath as username and Hari at the rate 123 as password, like that. For all the users I have given simple passwords. So that information is shared. If any one of you is not having SVN access, probably you can just let me know, and I can create accounts for you. So now you can see here that it has simply checked out all the code, right? So this is good. And so basically, like, what you have is docs folder. We will put one document here into it, or we will put all type of documentation into this docs folder. Then you have RCM UI, which will be the UI project, where you UI developers need to put all the code into your app folder primarily. Here, like, you have very basic things set up here. Okay, so the Angular, Bootstrap, everything is set up actually. Okay, so I'll run that build, how to do it, and also show you this particular thing, how we can actually use it. So then, the Java side, RCM API is the main one. Okay, RCM API is the main service. Okay, where you have the controllers in the, this is a web API project. Okay, so if you can actually look at it on Java RCM platform controllers, you find the controllers here. So user controller is the one that we have that helps for say get all users, get user, create user, update user, remove, and there is one home. Here we are not doing much, and users. So we should be having a login. Which one is the login one? If we commit generate controller. So access, yeah, login is in the MC users controller. Okay, so here you find this for API for login. Now right now we are building the sending a response as the user ID, but we will be generating a token, and that token related logic will be developed tomorrow, and the token will be used going forward. Can you show me that file? So for now the API can be still executed and validated. Okay, so login is this, the login, and user controller is the one that has the, there should be a save method. I think this is, we are not using, everything is into MC user controller only. User controller is something still in progress. And yeah, so here you can see register method. We have this is a request, the post method, and this method is the one that actually will yeah, basically, like, the registration method, basically save operation. Okay, and login and save, you can primarily, these are the methods. We will add more validations, and the basically token is what we need to integrate. We are going to have a mechanism for all subsequent API calls once user logs in. So how do I build the code? So what I need is, I need to have Maven installed locally, right? And I hope one moment, I need actually Chrome. Yeah. this one. And to kill all my Chrome instances. I just want to show something else for the UI developers. And okay, yeah. So all Chrome related stuff is killed, and let me. Oh my goodness, Chrome is still running. Okay, yeah, Chrome is here. I just need to kill all the Chrome instances. There's a lot of them. Okay, this is crazy. Okay, yeah, and I think there's one more. Yeah, and once this tree is done, this is bad. Still have one instance. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was running a plugin that resulted in that. So when I click on Chrome, you see here, like there is one simple thing that I do. Yeah, I start as a Google Chrome with security disabled. Okay, so this is extra parameter. I just run this command, and I can actually I'll share this information anyway with you. Okay, so yeah, so this information, yeah, and the browser starts with disability security. This will help the UI developers for faster development. Now that I have checked out the code, and I have the data here, service is the one having business logic, UI is for UI, and data is for the DAO layer. Config is something like where you want to put the configurations. Okay, right now this is blank, empty, when we are not using it effectively, but we will be using it going forward. So how do I build the code? So the way we build the code is I go to the folder. Okay, okay, I'm here in this folder. So I we need to have Maven installed. So Maven is like you can download it from Apache website. Okay, so you need to have Java installed before that, and then install Maven. Then have this Maven build path. The usually you have it. I have it here. Okay, so till the bin folder, you need to have it into the path variable, so that after that you can, once you do that change, you can open new command window so that the path information is reflected. Then you can actually clean MVN clean install, and we can do this all these steps in Eclipse. Okay, I'm just doing it in the command prompt for now. Okay, and yeah, so it does the build. See here, the build is successful. And similarly for the UI, what I do is that I go to the, sorry, this is a different project, and uh, yeah, what I have is I have all the code here. So cd rcm UI, and here I'll do this. Okay, mvn install. So when I do this, before that there is a text file that I have mentioned that how to install those steps. So here you see here it does npm install, it does all that, whatever the dependencies are there, it will pull them up. This is a clean build that I'm doing. Okay, so this is going to build, and while it is building, actually I can go back to the source folder, and it's actually svn. Okay, UI, and I can open this file. Okay, you need to the prerequisites in general, because even the UI developers, even they are working, right, all other people also, like we need to make sure we are building and running this application locally. So these steps will help us. So maybe I'll just give this. Yeah, so what we do is you have to install Node.js, download it from nodejs.org. Okay, that's a JavaScript framework. And then once you install Node.js, then we get something called npm, node package manager. Okay, Node.js package manager. So what we need to do is we have to install certain additional supporting stuff for us. Okay, so npm install -g, that means that global install. Okay, this is going to install Yeoman, which is actually a project builder. Similarly, you need to install npm install -g grunt cli. Okay, similarly you have npm install -g bower. So these are the three things that are mandatory. So once you run that, then you can go to RCM UI. Sorry, I mentioned it wrong here. Go to RCM UI, and then actually this additional statement, these things are not required. Okay, if you get any error, probably we might require, but once you install all this, you can just go to the RCM UI folder from command prompt. Okay, and yeah, then you just run mvn install. And please note, I am running this from the UI module. Okay, I'm running this from the UI module, so it will take a while. And please note, if you get into any problem, say some suddenly, like because it has to download around 200 MB of files supporting to Node.js. Okay, so if there is any problem, you have to repeat this. Okay, just run mvn install. Okay, and sometimes for me locally, whenever I set it up in a different folder, it takes 2-3 attempts for me to get all the files. So if you run into problem, just try again, run the command again, and if you still it doesn't solve, you can let me know. Okay, so usually, like this UI project is around 4 MB kind of project. Okay, but then when you run these commands, then it actually is going to download a lot of files. Okay, though they are not part of your application, they are not part of our application directly, but they are supporting things. Okay, basically the way you have various jars that your Java project depends on, node modules is something that the Angular code, that actually the build process depends on, right? So when this particular thing happens, so we will actually, like have a var file generated into the target folder. So we will see that in a moment. So yeah, I think we are so far, we are like these are the steps. If you just follow these instructions, should be fine. So let me see if I have anything else. Yeah, Git is not required. We are using SVN. So there are few other things that I mentioned here, but they are not all required. That's only like an optional. Okay. So when we have the npm thing done, that build is done, actually, like I'll show you that interesting thing. It is still downloading. We can run this grunt command, grunt command, and that does a lot of magic. Okay, so it actually, like runs this like Node.js server, and which will be watching for any changes. So I'll show you that just in a moment. Okay, so it is still downloading, it is still downloading. So then one more thing that I really wanted is, while UI is working on the in terms of data, let's look at the SQL. So we just placed, tomorrow we are going to just make this converge into one single thing. We are going to have, let's have one single data model, and I'll create an SQL file also here. So let's make sure that we are just putting up everything here. So the DB, maybe we can just name that as a schema.mwb or rcm.mwb, and we have to make one single file, put that into the single workbench file, and always whenever we do changes, we can just export the SQL into rcm.sql, so that way it will be in sync. Okay, and it helps all of us to be in sync. Okay, so let me go back and say it is still going on, it is still going on. So on the other side, the UI module, I think I executed that before, earlier, little a while before. So let me see here. So all the places you see here, it actually has generated. Um, it actually has generated the var file. So the typical like mvn install in the regular folder, it does that. That's for the Java project. Okay, so what is it? This is not required for us. Yeah. Yeah, it is first time you see you have to go through this. UI project takes some dependency, like it takes some time. Okay, it takes some time. So that way, I think we need to be little patient here and download things. So once you have it, then it is just like that. It is very fast. First time. But so far, good thing is that it has not thrown any error so far. So that's actually one way it is good. And come on. Then, Murali, do we have anything else to be discussed? Yeah, one file that I'm going to show. Yeah, one file that I'm going to show you is the parameters. Okay, and what that is basically like the API, how we use the API, and basically like yeah. So we can just do this stuff with Postman and yeah, probably like the way I would prefer to do is. Um, yeah, Chrome plugin. I prefer this Postman, and this one is better. So here, once I get my service running, so what I should do is, sorry, this is JSON, and so once I get my API running here, so what I do is I just do this. Okay, so maybe I need to add an header, content type is application slash JSON, and yeah, okay. You have everything else here, so which I really don't need all the stuff. And okay, one second, I'll just delete everything. Let me grab just this URL is already updated. So the body wise, the content that you sent, the content that we are going to send should be this. Okay, so here, like I'm sending, and I'm sending the data, right? See the UI is still running, and then you can click on it. Right now it's not running here locally, so what I should be doing is a moment. Rail code media SVN Indian 7 colon run. So when we do this, it is going to start the password is root only. Yeah. So the way we assume that for database is that root and root. Okay, the username is root and password is root, and the schema name is RCM. That's what we are actually using right now. So you can anyway find that in the SQL file, that SQL file, and the moment this service is up, I could probably like run you through like how this is going to work. See here, Spring Boot is actually loading, and this is a Tomcat thing. Okay, so meanwhile, this guy is still the UI build is this guy is still downloading. You need to excuse this guy. So here, yeah, that's application is getting loaded. See here, it is loading the API as a module there, and Hibernate. It's getting done here. See here, the services are deployed. This is very important thing is that the request mapping. When the server is coming up, we need to see that okay, this is loading this particular thing. Okay, so user slash login. There like this. There is a slash users, right, for registration. Okay, slash users. So this we will be like working on it a bit more in terms of exact naming, resource naming. But yeah, this is like to get started. I think this is a good beginning. Yeah, yeah. So this is still getting started. Oh, no, started the application. This is, yeah, it says here started application in 23.521, so it is faster. Right. So now let me try this out. See here, this is cool for me. Basically, like yeah, for whatever reason I'm getting a response from the server. So this it has failed. There is an error code FS 1002, and error message is unknown. Okay, and basically like what is actually the user is already there, probably no. This basically says it that the table does not exist. Okay, so in my locally, like I have ran it, but somewhere there's some problem. So probably like my script probably, I actually, sorry, I ran the script now on the dev server, not on the local computer. So probably like I can actually give that try as well. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to run the DB script. So that also will be a good this thing for us. So I'm going to do RCM data. So here SQL. So I'm here. So what I do is MySQL minus your root minus p root. Just make sure you are setting your password of the root to root itself. Okay. And RCM. I think this guy is going to do everything right. SQL dot. Sorry, RCM dot SQL. Okay. He's going to create the database. If you run like this, he's going to create the database and execute. It's done. Okay, let me try the postman thing now. Yeah, no, it should work. It should work. It works. Yeah, DB is done, right? DB connection probably is established already. I do have the database. So you see here, the result is success. So we are going to actually do some more changes here on this, but then the registration is successful. Sorry, registration is successful. Similarly, for login, what we need to do is, yeah, yeah, this is the API. So let me take the this thing, the request content body and the user slash login actually. So probably they here, yeah, this is what we are going to do. Yeah, and it says success. User one, yeah. Let me try, yeah, unknown. Yeah, I mean basically like this, it's failing, and the status. So we are going to actually have improve this API inputs and outputs error handling. We will do something similar to like I'll show something like that we have that API documentation. How we will do the way. Uh, I'll just show you in one something or other. Okay, let me open service. Yeah, service design for our APIs. We will do something like this. Okay. So what we will do is that input parameters, output, what we are going to have, sample request response. So already we have it. Murli created that particular dancing. We'll put that into a document. Okay. I prefer if there is a Confluence or Wiki kind of thing from a real code media. So, but yeah, if in the other case, we can pretty much create, sample request response and errors, what kind of errors we get, error codes, you know, like this information, we will have some standard approach for all the APIs together. So far, like we are good with this. Okay, so hopefully my UI thing. Oh, this guy, you see here, he is having some problem. So I need to do again. So when I click on it now, this time it's not going to download all the files, but if whatever is downloaded, then now this time it's going to skip that and forget only the remaining ones. Okay, so and hopefully this time it will be successful. The npm UI code, I hope it's going to be successful. It will download the remaining files only. Then yeah, I guess it is actually done to the Bower thing. That means it's good. Okay, the downloads are good, and this Bower npm install is successful. Now this is Bower granted, so we are good. So we are going to get this particular thing. And as you see, this I'm doing in a brand new folder. So I have compiled, I checked out, built the Java code, the UI code, and I ran the Java code from the SVN. Okay, the fresh SVN code changes. Okay? And now this guy says karma. He says during grant error listen. Okay, so looks like somewhere someone is listening on this port. Let me try this again. That looks like my this port is being in use. Okay. But shouldn't be the case. Let me just check. Let me run this once again. This actually does some testing as well. Okay, so yeah, it's still failing. So yeah, probably like it should be working in the most the other high probability, but it should say successful. Okay, success means it will actually build a war file. And let me see if do I have anyone else. This is just this is the Tomcat application running. Okay, otherwise I go to the U folder, and this is where I should be doing grunt and serve. Okay, grunt and serve. This also should be failing. I'm assuming this is going to fail because 9001 most probably like the port may be in use. But let me see. Oh, okay. Okay, this guy seems good. Yeah, he is building, and I'll just open in the Chrome. Okay, this is IE, right? Yeah, this is IE. I just want the Chrome thing to be there because it's a little easier for me, or I'm more comfortable with the Chrome browser. Let me just show how this how simple it is for the UI development. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to the SVN folder, your folder, app, okay, the index.html. Okay, I'm going to do some change to this index.html. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this page and this page. Yeah, yeah, I just have uh, yeah. So what I'm going to do is that do some change in the HTML. Maybe I'll just try doing some little very small change. Probably like so the terms here. I'm just doing some HTML change. Okay. Uh, so let's all rights reserved, something like that. Maybe and just said some change. I see here it immediately reflected. I don't need to do anything in the browser, right? You do the changes in the JavaScript, HTML everywhere. It actually like reflects immediately. Okay, this actually saves the UI developer's time. Say, it plays back. Okay, so how it does is that the grunt actually listens to this port. One moment. Where am I? It says it listens and it pushes it to the browser. Okay, so this is really cool thing. So yeah, and I hope like this makes sense for us, and this is relatively easier. How to do things. Okay, so thank you, and in case of any questions, let us know.